Hey everybody, JR Specie here, and it is story time. I thought I would do a little series of videos for anyone interested in hearing some fun memories related to the sports card world, my big wins and my big losses, mistakes I've made, and accidents that have turned out to be pretty profitable. So that's kind of what these are going to be about. They're going to be titled, I don't know, Story Time with Frankie P, I think. Frankie P, which is my name, Frank Pasquale Specie Jr., and I go by JR. Anyways, just something different and fun. So, back in 2000, the big height of memorabilia, game-used memorabilia cards, jersey cards, ball cards, all kinds of cards. So I'm 21 years old, and I'm doing card shows, and I'm having a blast, and selling lots of stuff and learning lots of stuff from the old guys. However, I was as knowledgeable as I was at the time. I still had a long ways to go, which I guess we all continue to learn more and more, but part of my non-intelligence was my immaturity. I was young. Anyways, so it's 2000. I'm working at GNC in Johnstown, New York, which is where I met one of my best friends, who I'm still great friends with today. His name's Shane, and I'm buying cards with every dollar I make at my job. And I living at home still. I just started going to college. No, actually, at this point, I was already done with college. Not done as in graduated, but I played baseball, and then I quit after the baseball season. And then I was going to return for the spring season, which would have been coming up. Anyways, football was hot, and memorabilia cards were hot. We had a great rookie class that year. We had draft picks like Chad Pennington, Ruben Derones, Jamal Lewis, Plaxico Burress, Peter Warwick, Sean Alexander, Brian Urlacher, and those guys were just, I mean, their cards were on top of the world. So this was back before, you know, cards would go up rather than down after they'd been out for a while, and I was able to buy boxes of cards, hobby boxes, retail boxes, whatever the distributor had. I was able to buy them at you know, clearance prices, because once they were out for a couple months, they'd start to drop. And that's the way it was back then. So all you young people, man, I feel bad for you now, because if you buy a box of anything now, like we'll say Pokemon, or a hobby box of Topps, or Hoops basketball, if you can find it at MSRP, they just seem to go up as the months go on. Whereas back then, the box price in a nutshell would go down. So, okay, long story short, I'm buying up boxes of Skybox Impact, Skybox Dominion, and only because I was chasing one card, because I decided to do a hand-collated set of 2000 Fleer Tradition. I had every single card except for one. And I thought, well, I'm just going to open up boxes until I find this one card that I need. And if I pull a bunch of other rookies, great. And if I pull memorabilia cards, great. You know, I mean, that's a win. So instead of just going out and buying this one card that I needed, that would have only cost me $4, book price was $4 at the time. Instead of doing that, I decided just to keep ripping boxes. Now the Fleer Tradition boxes were a little bit more. I was paying between $40 and $60 a box, usually $60. But I didn't care, because I had a great chance of pulling those memorabilia cards. So, and I'll tell you what card I was missing in the end. So I opened up a ton of those boxes for 40 or 60 bucks. Like I said, mostly was paying 60 on them. And I never pulled that card that I needed. For some strange reason, I was never able to pull this card. I don't know why. All those boxes, I mean, it wasn't a humongous set, that Flair Tradition set. I think it was only, I don't know if it was 350 cards or 440 or something. I don't remember off the top of my head. It wasn't a huge set, but I just wasn't able to pull the dang one card that I needed. So eventually I quit buying those boxes. I gave up and I went and bought the one card, and that card happened to be a Chad Pennington rookie card. And Chad Pennington had a great first 2-3 years in the NFL with the New York Jets, which was my team and still is my team. Good, bad, or ugly. So anyways, bought the card. Now, Skybox Impact and Skybox Dominion, now those things had jersey cards in them too. Now granted, you were mostly going to just pull like a lineman's Pro Bowl jersey, but who cared? Nobody cared. You wanted that game used jersey, and those Pro Bowl jerseys of these linemen that I never even heard of were selling for like $50, $60. And if you got somebody good by chance, we're talking big bucks, $100, $150, $200, you know? So I was buying these from my distributor for, are you ready? Wait for it. $20 a box. $20! And those boxes were loaded with rookies. And I was opening them at GNC at work because we never had any customers. It was slow all the time. I even remember one day I worked and I never had one sale the entire day, and I worked open to close. Anyways, I'm ripping cards all the time behind the counter because no one's coming in. And I'm just having a blast. And I'm sorting stuff. And yeah, so I'm working at GNC, but I'm opening cards all day. That's it. Anyways, I might as well have been in my room and at my desk just going through cards. So I'm pulling aside the Ruben Durones, and I'm pulling aside the Sean Alexanders and the Penningtons and the Peter Warwicks and the Brian Urlachers and Jamal Lewises, and I'm just throwing everybody else in a box because who cares? All these other rookies are duds. Nobody cares. No one's ever even heard of them. No one's asked for them, and no one's ever gonna ask for them. But they want the other guys, the Penningtons, the Burris, who else? Courtney Brown, even Courtney Brown, #1 pick in the draft that year, I believe. So I'm pulling all these cards aside, and I'm so excited. $20 a box, and I'm pulling, you know, $40 worth of rookies probably in every box. So long story short, I do this every single week. I'm buying 5 boxes of one, 5 boxes of the other. I'm going back, I'm just buying them until this distributor doesn't have any more, until I can't find any more at the shows, which at the time I was doing at least 2 shows a month and sometimes 4 shows a month. So I would just keep buying these things for $20 a box. Okay, skip forward several years down the road, okay? These boxes get packed, and back then nobody cared about the cheaper rookies. So I'll stuff in 5,000 count boxes, and for those of you who don't know, those are the 5-row big white boxes. I'm stuffing those full of cards, and I'm just putting them away. I'm filling them, and I'm just putting them away. They got all the stars in there, all the Favres and Marinos and Elway. I think Elway was retired by 2000. But anyways, I'm stuffing them full, everything except for those 6 or 7, 8 good rookies and the memorabilia cards. So fast forward 20 years later, 21 years later, if you will, and guess what I still have stacked full, never touched since 2000, never had a card out of a box since I put them in the box. Guess who has those still? This guy. And guess what just so happens to be in those sets? You guessed it. The GOAT. The greatest quarterback, at least the most successful quarterback in NFL history. And that is not arguable. That is the truth. No one's going to argue that he's not the most successful quarterback. Those boxes are chock full of Tom Brady rookie cards. and I just stuffed them in there as commons and put them away. And I've carted those boxes around forever. And then for the last handful of years, the light bulb went off, and I said, oh my gosh, I said, I have to go through those boxes and check them out. I said, because that's Tom Brady rookie years. He was not a big star. I'm pretty sure I was able to pull at least 2 rookies of his per box, probably, on average. There might be some boxes I pulled 1, there might be some boxes I pulled 3, I don't know. But all I know is I pulled a lot of his rookie cards because it was just an overproduced set in 2000 of a cheap product that they were pumping out, and those cards are still worth decent money and high grade, and those are all packed fresh, so we're talking got to be at least 9s in there, you know, depending on centering. So there's my story about how I had fun chasing dud rookies that are currently dud rookies minus the Urlacher, and subsequently ended up with a small fortune of Tom Brady rookies. How many rookies are in there? I don't know. I have not gone through the cards. I know where they are. They're in one of my storage units. My first storage unit, actually, that I got out here in Utah, and they've been sitting there ever since I put them in there, and they've been carted from New York to Utah. So that's a fun story. Let me know if you like it, and let me know if you want to do more of these stories of me kind of talking about memories, the good, bad, and ugly. And you guys have a good rest of the day. Later.